In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how to find your first inbound closing client with my good subscriber, Isaiah Hunter. Now, I know a lot of you, especially the younger crowd, you guys are always asking me, how do you find your first client? So today I actually got someone who's very new into industry, probably got interested into high ticket closing and inbound sales about 2 months ago. And now he actually found his first client. We're specifically going to be talking about how he got into closing, how did he find his first clients, the biggest challenges to finding the first clients, and tips for people who are also interested in closing as well. Also, if you are interested in closing and you're still wondering, should I dive into it? I actually have a free training. If you go to kaizenclosing.com/masterclass, it's a free masterclass. It's about 2 hours long, and I give my detailed explanation of what high ticket closing is, how to dive into it, and how to sell a high ticket program as well. So don't miss that. But anyways, let's dive into the interview. I'll see you there. Take care. Peace. Yo, Isaiah, what's going on, man?
How you doing, Kevin?
I'm good. Well, we have you on today for a very special reason, honestly, because I know you've been following my channel for a while, and I know that you actually recently got your first closing gigs. Is that right, my man?
That's right.
Awesome stuff. Well, for y'all that don't know who Isaiah is, why don't you give us like a quick breakdown of who you are, how old are you, and all that, and start off with that question, man.
Sure, I can do that. Hey, I'm Isaiah Hunter. I'm 19, just graduated high school, I want to say 8 months ago, and in the midst of COVID, and I went to go find something that would make me money online because I hated working my part-time job. So now I'm here.
Yeah. What were you kind of doing before the whole closing thing, by the way?
Immediately after high school, I got my first job working as a CMA, customer service, CSA, customer service associate at Walgreens, and for $10 an hour. So
Yeah.
I hated that.
Yeah. So you're doing that. How long did you do that for, man?
I did that for 7 months, and I got to month 5, and I realized how much I really hated just the way the system worked. So I wanted to find something that'll make me money. So I got into affiliate marketing, and I started to make money that almost rivaled what I was making from my job. So I plan on just quitting and doing affiliate marketing.
Yeah. What kind of affiliate marketing were you doing? Because there's so many different types of affiliate marketing, as you probably know, right?
As for me, I just wanted to just create funnels for people, and they would just pay me to just create the funnels.
Oh, that's awesome. And okay, cool. That's pretty cool. So how long do you do affiliate marketing for then?
I still do affiliate marketing on the side whenever I feel the need to, but I started doing that in November.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So how did like closing kind of fit in the whole picture? Because, there's a lot of different business models out there. So what was something about closing that kind of caught your eye?
It really came out of nowhere for me, actually. I saw a YouTube ad and figured, well, might as well try it out, If I wanted a refund after I spend $97 on this course, I can get a refund, and I'll just use the knowledge elsewhere and just keep doing affiliate marketing and find something else to do. But I ended up really enjoying it, and I had no idea what it really was until I got into it and learned about it and got around people who actually have clients and start closing. And it was amazing.
Yeah. I guess like what kind of things did you really like about closing, like as you were doing it?
It's more so the person interaction. I'm a people person. I love talking to people, and me being able to just have that conversation with people and find out about their problems and being able to solve those problems in real time. That's what made me want to be a closer.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. So that's what kind of got you in the closing realm. You pretty much saw an ad and you dove into it, right? That's awesome.
Yep.
And so like, I guess one of the reasons why I wanted you on here was because I know a lot of people are struggling to find their first clients, right? And for someone like me that I wouldn't say I'm super seasoned, I get most of everything from referral these days. So I wanted your perspective on someone who's kind of new in the game, who is trying to get their first clients. Like, I guess, how did you first get your clients, Isaiah?
Well, originally I started as an appointment setter because I couldn't find any gigs as a closer. But I started looking in Facebook groups that I thought that I could find closing opportunities in. And I found a few, but the requirements for them were more so like seasoned closers. They were looking for people that had around like 500,000, $1 million in revenue. And I had 0, so I didn't even try. But I ended up quitting the job as an appointment setter. It was fun, but outbound isn't for me.
Yeah.
But I found a gig for a company called XL, and I've been working with them. Actually, they reached out to me through a referral because a friend of mine who is a closer that I met through the IBC course, he recommended me because we talked about just finding opportunities, and he found one before me. So I got recommended XL. But the second one, I went to a freelance site called Upwork, where I applied as a closer there and just went looking for people who were looking for closers.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's kind of circle back to something before your referral and all that. I know that you were doing appointment setting. Like, how was that experience for you as well? Like doing the whole appointment setting? Because I know it's very different from like closing, right?
Appointment setting at first, it doesn't seem that bad until you realize how many people you have to talk to and how much rejection you face on a daily basis.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks. But like, I enjoy talking to people, but not that much. So it's not for me.
Yeah. And I think the whole talking to people, like, I mean, I love talking to people too, but like, you know, especially in a more professional sense or when you're closing and stuff, it's a different vibe and different energy too, right? It's like, dude, when you talk to your friends want to talk to you. When you cold call someone, they don't want to talk to you sometimes, you know? So that makes a lot of sense. And so you did an appointment setting gig as well. And do you feel like that experience really helped you, hurt you? Like, how do you feel like that played into what you're doing right now?
I feel like it helped me just to have a better grasp of how a system works like that, because I knew how closing works, but I didn't know how the closers actually get their leads, and that's where the appointment setter comes into play. And it's more so just knowing all the parts of a car before you drive it.
Yeah. Okay. So you're doing appointment setting and stuff. And how did you originally find this gig? You mentioned Upwork, you mentioned like Facebook groups. Like for this particular gig, how did you find this first opportunity, by the way?
It was Facebook groups, actually.
Yeah.
I was approached by a few people who were just looking for setters, but I didn't think it was necessary. So I turned about 3 or 4 of them down. And there's this fifth guy, and he reached out to me, but I went into like what his company was, and it just seemed a little bit shady. So I passed on it. And another guy who I thought was pretty cool, he worked with somebody who works with Bob Proctor. So I was like, okay, this dude has a little bit of reputation. So I started working underneath him as an appointment setter. And it was okay work, but it's just, appointment setting is great if you're okay with cold outreach, but cold outreach is, it's hard.
Yeah. Man, so that's pretty rough. So, but you got, either way, what I really like about what you mentioned was that you just got any experience as possible, right? Whether it was picking up on the phone, you're still speaking to people, you're kind of understanding the system, how it kind of works as well. That's great, man. And I guess like, as you're talking about the shady company as well, like, did you run into that a lot while you're looking into different clients? How did you kind of feel out this interaction, like thinking it was kind of like shady? How did you kind of identify that, Isaiah?
Well, it actually happened quite a bit when I was looking for my first client, because there's a bunch of companies that want you to pay to work with them. And that seems a little bit backwards to me. If you're going to be paying me for your service, I shouldn't be having to pay you to teach me how to work with you. It seems a little backwards, but there's a couple of companies that went looking for people like me. And it's actually somewhat common when you're looking for your first gig as a closer, because you don't know who's reliable and who's not.
Oh, that's really fucked, dude. I can't believe that happens, dude. Yeah, I've never like ran into that situation before in terms of like having to pay someone for an opportunity. Like that just doesn't quite make sense. You're providing a service, and for a service, you are collecting X amount of dollars. It shouldn't be the other way around. To build your asset, I have to pay you. Super weird, but okay. That's interesting. Cool. And so as you were like looking for clients, like how long was it from the period of you finishing your program to actually like closing your or finding a real closing like gig as well? Like how long was that time period for yourself?
It was roughly around 4 or 5 weeks that I found my ideal client, like the closing clients that I mentioned earlier. And it took a lot longer than expected because I was more so limiting myself to appointment setting because I didn't think I was good enough to apply just for a closing gig with no sales experience. But
Yeah.
people still want to work with you and they'll train you if you actually have the commitment for it.
Yeah, that's right. It's pretty crazy. You can get a lot of experience just doing that as well. So that's perfect. And I guess what were some of your biggest challenges to finding your first clients, Isaiah?
It's more so just fear of getting out there. That was the biggest thing for me.
Mm.
Because as for me, I don't like putting myself in front of the camera, but I've gotten more accustomed to that fear now because I want to start my own YouTube channel as well. So I'm like practicing for that. But when I first started doing outreach, I didn't know what to say to people. My thought process was these people have status, and if I mess up, my reputation is shot, and no one's gonna work with me. But seeing how they're not like big name companies like Apple or something like that, it wouldn't matter too much if one entrepreneur didn't think I was a closer, like closer material, so I could work with somebody else.
Damn. Okay. That's crazy. Like, I guess where does that fear come from? Like, I mean, because you kind of took a program, and I hear this like kind of hidden belief that you didn't feel like you were good enough. Like there was that type of thing. Like, why do you feel like you have that feeling? I guess.
I guess at the start it was just self-doubt, I guess.
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot better at it now, and especially with the job with Upwork. If I saw that post, like they were looking for a freelancer at the time, but now I'm working with them, and it's not just freelance work. They want me to be one of their closers, and it's just the fact that if I saw that when I first created the account, I created the account in like September. That's when I really like wanted to get into all this stuff, and create the account, and it was just more so, okay, these people are looking for an experienced closer. I'm not experienced, I just got into it, there's no way I can do this, so I didn't even try. But they
Mhm.
were looking for an experienced closer, and me a few days ago, I figured, well, I know how to do role plays and I've closed on a few, so I know the system works. I consider myself an experienced closer. And I messaged the guy about the opportunity, and he messaged me back within 24 hours, and he did an interview with me. He did 2 interviews actually, and I ended
Yeah.
up getting the gig.
Sweet. Awesome. So when you did your interviewing process as well, I mean, did they ask about your experience and whatnot as well?
They did. I was very blunt with them, and I mentioned how I'm very lacking in terms of sales experience. But they said as long just listening to me talk, they realized that I actually want something for myself, and I'm
Yeah.
actually trying to make it happen. So they had no problem as long as I'm able to commit and want to learn with them. They have no problem with my sales experience because that can be earned.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's really just repetitions from that point, right? But I'll be honest, it's really hard finding really great closers that are committed, that are professional, that, actually check all these boxes. There's actually a huge gap. Even when you work with more senior type of people, it can be really, really hard sometimes or difficult. So totally understand with that. Okay. And so like I'm guessing like, some of the people watching this might be curious about like, well, how do I find my first client? How can I be like Isaiah? So what are some of the tips, the tricks that you have that really helped you, I guess, right? As well. Like I would love to hear that.
The biggest one I have to say is it's just patience. You can't rush looking for your optimal client because you don't know who they are or where to find them. As like what mentioning with Facebook groups and even LinkedIn, I use LinkedIn now with the first job with Excel. And I use it for organic outreach, but LinkedIn is a powerful source just for finding a high ticket offer, someone who's selling that and you want to be a closer for them. There are tons of people on LinkedIn. Facebook groups I don't recommend as much now, but even sites like Indeed or ZipRecruiter, stuff like that, people are on there looking for closers, but no one knows these sites exist, so no one goes over there. So they're just slots that go unfilled. So I recommend trying just all the avenues and just continue reaching out, because if you keep knocking on a door or you keep knocking on various doors, one of them will open.
How many doors do you think you've had to knock on for that like one opportunity?
I think I lost count. I want to say about 10 to 15.
10 to 15 opportunity. I thought you were going to say like 100 something, bro.
No, not that many. I did reach out to a bunch of people, and a few of them just didn't respond. But a few did respond asking about my sales experience, and they told me I wasn't experienced enough, and I just kept going and kept trying because it's something I really wanted to do. So I ended up finding somebody who was willing to work with me.
Yeah, that's really, really solid. That's really great. And so I guess like as you're closing, well, you're just getting into closing now from what you're telling me, but how do you kind of like the whole experience and kind of compare it to your old jobs like previously?
In comparison to my first job, it's already better just from the customer service and just from the people who are over me and the company owners. They're a lot more direct and they let you know what's happening when it's happening since you're part of a sales team, and they actually keep you up to date and they make sure that everything's going right. And it's a different feel. And it's also the fact that I could be changing somebody's life just from being on a phone call with them.
Mhm.
Whereas when I was working at a grocery store, I don't have that kind of impact.
Yeah, that is true. Like grocery, I mean, don't get me wrong, working at a grocery store is important, right? People got to eat, but at the same time too, like you can have more impact on someone's business if you can help them, push them over the edge to do something that they want, that will impact their business, that will impact their life. Whatever you're selling, it should be like that as well. That's great. Awesome. And I guess like one of the questions I have for you next is like, what's next for you? So you landed your first closing gig. Where do you want to be like in the next 5-10 years, I guess, for yourself? Like, how do you want to grow your career? Are you planning to stay as a closer? What are your plans, man?
I'm going to be a closer for, I want to say 2 years, maybe at the maximum, but I have plans to launch my own businesses. I have 3 business models in mind. The first one's a game development company. I've already started working on the first 2 games. The second one, where I was going to go back to my marketing company that I wanted to start with affiliate marketing, I'm going to actually launch that one and get that off the ground relatively soon. I want to say within the next 6 to 7 months. And the third one, I want to make a nonprofit for suicide prevention.
Ooh, tell me about the last one. Like, why is that really important to you, my man?
Well, I found out recently that my sister planned on killing herself a long time ago, but I didn't know about it until just now. This was almost a decade ago. And also, a best friend of mine was in a spot like that, and I lost contact with him, but he's fine now. But I lost contact with him for about a month on end because he was in a mental institution, and I had no idea where he was at, and I figured he had just taken his life because I heard that he was on that path, but I lost contact with him. But he's okay now, and that shocked me because he was somebody I've been talking to since the 5th, 6th grade. So he's a really close friend of mine, and I want to make sure that stuff like that doesn't happen. But on top of that, I've noticed that there's a lot of people who are just, I want to say fake depressed, but there's also people who are genuinely depressed and they can't show it because there's people who are like, oh, you're just looking for clout and stuff like that. And I want to be able to give people like that an outlet.
Yeah, I can tell. I mean, really making impact on people, caring about people. That's something that you feel really strong about, Isaiah. Does that sound about right?
That's perfect.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And you said that you might want to launch your marketing business again, and also the gaming business as well. Are you a big gamer?
Massive.
Favorite games right now?
I want to say like League of Legends. You may call me old, but I love me some Guitar Hero, and just love some Mario Kart. The standards.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome, my man. Cool. Well, yeah, I just want to hop on really quickly to just kind of like drop some knowledge, because I used to see you in my deep focus sessions, and you're always like putting in work for like appointment setting and stuff like that. You kept on saying that, and it's kind of cool seeing you kind of build from ground up. And I think you're focusing on all the right things like marketing and sales, and I have no doubt that you're probably gonna launch your own like offer. I mean that's what I really want to do. For me personally, I don't see myself closing forever, but it's like you build a skill, you don't forget it, and you're able to add so much impact and create things for yourself like you're able to create your own things, your own visions into this world and sell them to other people. So that's great, Isaiah. Any tips or any last words that you want to leave on someone who might be around your age that's looking for closing? Any last things?
I want to just say stay persistent and don't let anybody keep you off your path. Also, write down everything. It may not seem like a lot, but it's like it's proven to where if you write something down, you're constantly looking at it, you won't ever forget it, and it'll motivate you to keep going.
Tell me more about that. Are we talking about like your goals? Are we talking about like while you're on a closing call? Like, tell me a little bit more about writing things down.
Both of those things. For me, I have a goal book. You can't really see it because of the lighting, but I bought a goal book and I write down all my goals. And at the end of the book, the last page are my lifetime goals, the things I want to achieve before I die. And kind of like a bucket list almost, but they're more so something that I know I can achieve when I put in the work to go get it. But I have my daily goals and weekly and monthly and stuff of that nature. But even when I'm on a sales call, I take notes of the person who I'm talking to, just to make sure I get everything across, and I'm making sure that I'm making sure that I know that they're feeling like they're appreciated. So when it comes to just anything important, like even with the sticky notes behind me, most of these are just really inspirational quotes that I found that really resonate with me. So I keep them with me at all times.
Yeah, that's awesome, Isaiah. Super proud of you, my man. Well, that's it. And if anybody has any questions about like closing and stuff, feel free to drop them in the comments as well. But hey, thanks for coming on, Isaiah. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, so now that you watched that interview with Isaiah, what are your thoughts? What are the next steps that you're going to do? Write them down in the comments below. Also, again, like I said, I have a free training in high ticket sales. You can go kaizenclosing.com/masterclass. You can check it out there. But if you want to check out some other YouTube videos as well, I have a full YouTube video about how to get into high ticket sales without a high ticket program. And then I also have a video about how to find your first clients as a high ticket closer as well. If you guys have any questions about it, please let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys next time. Stay bold, stay kick-ass. Peace.